Mr. Fantastic actually got nerfed with the Season 1.5 patch, and I'm here to run you guys through on why all these changes right here are an overall nerf to the character. For my Mr. Fantastic mains out there, don't worry, I got y'all covered because I know that some of y'all most definitely have probably noticed why Mr. Fantastic has been feeling less powerful this season. And if you haven't been feeling that, then you probably weren't that great of a Mr. Fantastic player to begin with in Season 1. But the main reason why I'm going to be making this video is because I definitely feel like there's a lot of misinformation getting spread around about Mr. Fantastic and on why these changes are a quote-unquote buff even though they're not. So yeah, let's just get straight into this rant about why these changes are a nerf. This grab right here now knocks people back and has a range of like I think 2.5 to 5 meters, and he now has a 10-second cooldown on that grab. Why is that a bad change? Number one, if you're thinking that this is an anti-dive mechanic to bounce people back, it's not. The main thing you'd use your grab for anti-dive is grabbing onto your teammates. And the reason why you grab onto your teammates instead of the person diving is because I'm pretty sure this grab only does a whole 25 damage when you actually grab onto someone, which when you grab onto a teammate, it actually gives them 75 shield. And that 75 shield is actually more of a health net worth than damaging the diver for 25. And most of the times, if your supports are getting dove or anyone on your team's getting dove by like a Black Panther, Spider-Man, Iron Fist, the usual divers, this little knockback right here isn't gonna do anything. What's gonna help out the most is if you grab your teammate that's getting dove and give them 75 extra HP. The next thing why this bounce back really doesn't do anything is because why would you want to bounce people away from you? If you're chasing someone, why would you want them to get that extra distance from you? Small distance probably could have gotten them to a support or something to get healed. And on top of that, he now has a 10-second cooldown on this grab. And Mr. Fantastic was all about utilizing your cooldowns to the best of your abilities and cycling through them to get to your inflated state the fastest. But now with the changes to his grab being 10 seconds, this is literally just detrimental to the whole way this character plays. His cooldowns are constantly just on cooldown, and you need cooldowns on this character to stay alive. And now I've been finding myself to use this shield right here in the middle of just like neutral poking because I don't have any cooldowns up for a grab, or I don't reach my inflated state fast enough because I'm constantly on cooldown. And 2 seconds is a big deal on an ability that has 2 charges. That means it's a net worth of 4 seconds being lost because you have to charge the ability twice to get it fully back. If you're wondering why using this in neutral is bad, is because this is your get out ability. After you go into your inflated state like this and you all of a sudden you start punching stuff and start taking damage, you want to exit this and immediately go into this form if you were under fire, because this is the only ability that you have up to refresh your other abilities to then you could get to inflated state faster. It's like this character had a whole cycle of cooldowns that just felt really smooth to play with, and now it's pretty much gone with this 10-second cooldown on this specific ability that has trade-offs that's not even worth it. The other change they made was they made it so that his ult, if you land directly on an opponent, it will do 70 damage instead of 50, which is 20 more damage than landing just barely outside the zone. And in exchange, they increased the ult charge. As I gave this more thought, I don't really care about this change too much because the main way I used Mr. Fantastic's ultimate was to add a bit more chaos to team fights. I was always the first one to ult on my team because you got it so fast on this character. This character literally farms ult charge, and you would usually bait out a support ult first for your other teammates to use their ults right after you. Because Mr. Fantastic's ult before the change, sure, it didn't do much damage, but just having this going on in a team fight would force supports to just ult, and then they wouldn't have their ult anymore, which would allow someone like a Star-Lord or, you know, better alts to just pop up. But now it takes longer to charge, so you can't even like do that every fight anymore, which in exchange, to be fair, it does do significantly more damage if you land on people, but it also now reduces the way like you could use this ult. There is a different way you could use this ult. It was like a minute tech that you could do on this character. If you have your ultimate and you land above your opponent but you're slightly on this ledge right here, you could still do damage. And pretty much now that you have to land like pretty much directly on your opponent, it kind of takes that away because you're missing out on guaranteed damage. This tech was usually good on his ultimate on maps that had a lot of verticality. I know that spider map 2099 whatever, first point on the escort, those buildings on that first point and that like upper staircase, there was a lot of buildings that you could just alt and just land on the ledges of those buildings to get out of line of fire and to just deal damage and just kind of do a double bounce like this. I'll just have to wait and see. Like, I don't even know if that counts as more damage. Like, there's no damage number stats that I could look at, but as of right now, I don't think landing up here does more damage to them. And there is a third and final use for this ultimate that I'm not sure many people used for. If you were in an inflated state, obviously, as you can see, your abilities get locked down. While your abilities are locked down, there's a very significant chance that you would end your inflated state early so that you could actually use your abilities to survive. One of the main abilities that you use right after inflated state is this ability right here, fully CC immune, and then you absorb all damage. While you're in inflated state, you can't end inflated state and pop that ability right after in time to be immune to CCs. With the Thing and Doctor Strange ults now being like massive CC ults on tanks and other CCs just being in the game that at the top of my head I can't really think about right now, you would just be kind of a sitting duck in that inflated state. But what you could do is you could actually enter your inflated state, and if you heard an Eye of Agamotto, you could pop your ult, become fully CC immune, and it just constantly be attacking their team again. And obviously that's not going to happen as much anymore because your ultimate now takes longer to charge and you're not going to have it up as often. So overall, these changes from my experiences have been an overall nerf to Mr. Fantastic. I literally haven't been touching this character at all ever since those changes. I hope they actually just either get reverted or honestly just get rid of this 10-second cooldown on the grab, because that's the most significant thing about his kit right now, is that 10-second cooldown just being so detrimental to his whole flow of ability rotations. And just so you guys know what I'm talking about with the ability rotations, as you can see right here, if you just plain out use your right click, you will passively gain elasticity. Off cooldown, I gained 7 right there. And you'll just keep gaining elasticity. You'll never be going negative in it. That is until you added a 10-second cooldown to his grab. Because now, I'll grab twice and then, well, I'm waiting on 10 seconds, waiting on 10 seconds. Still waiting, still waiting, still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. I lost 2 right there. I went from 60 down to 28. And because this grab gives you 30, as you can see, I'm losing elasticity off cooldown, which again is not very good. So yeah, overall, the Mr. Fantastic changes were a nerf. Everyone was saying that they're a buff. Patch note reviews and their thumbnails, everyone was saying it's a buff. This is an overall nerf, trust me. This is not good for this character. The things I changed so far with Mr. Fantastic, I'd revert it back to 8 seconds on his grab. That's the first thing. The second thing being either just like increase the damage on this or something, because just grabbing onto someone does like 25 damage and is not very good. Also remove the knockback on it. And the last thing I'd change about this character is the inflated state. I think to make this state more useful, I think what you need to do to it, because right now most people cancel it early anyways, you need to increase the range on this, because he actually has more range when he's normal, which most of the times I quite literally exit inflated state so I could reach an opponent that I would normally be able to reach without it. And then I'd also like increase the amount of shield you gain by entering inflated state by like 50 or something. And those are all the changes I'd make to Mr. Fantastic if you actually wanted to buff him. But this is not good. This is not good whatsoever. So, NetEase, please fix. Please change the character, because this is not the character I actually got lured on to love. And I hope by the end of this video, you guys actually probably, maybe, potentially have learned some new Mr. Fantastic knowledge that you probably didn't know previously. Or maybe this will inspire new people to play this amazing character. If I'm gonna be honest, in Season 1, this character didn't even need any changes. He was honestly just really good, and I don't think people were playing him properly. But yeah, that was pretty much my rant about Mr. Fantastic. Goodbye, Mr. Fantastic, for now, I guess. I'm just gonna be playing the thing instead. And as always, if you guys stay around, I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.